Now we turn on the fan. Here we go. Alrighty. I guess we are good to go, I think. I hope I have the best camera angle to... What the heck happened to Yuri? Oh man. Oh well. Welcome to my live stream, folks. This was another one of those days where I just happened to have some free time. As of the current moment, Wednesdays are my days off, so I thought, I might as well stream because my plans got canceled or at the very least postponed. So let me do my usual pinned message and then we will get started. Alrighty. Hopefully people get the message. Alrighty. So, a couple of things that have happened in my life recently. I have been really trying really hard to do body positivity stuff. Admittedly, I've kept it on a low profile for the time being because not everyone would understand my approach, but maybe one of these days it'll become more widestream. Hey, Caitlin, glad you could show up so early into the stream. Like, wow, you must have had like really good reflexes. I am doing fantastic today, apart from the fact that one of my plans was canceled, but I figure, God can make good things out of a sad thing. So I figure, you know what? If I can't do what I thought I was going to do, might as well come here and make you guys happy instead. I've also been really enjoying this new game I'm playing called Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes. The best way I can describe it is it's like this really intense action game where you've got like several enemies on the screen at once and you do really over the top maneuvers to take out the enemies. So I guess you could say it's kind of like Star Wars, but if the Jedi were fighting multiple opponents at once instead of just a one-on-one lightsaber fight. Or a better comparison would be in the prequel trilogy, whenever they were fighting hordes of droids. I would say that's probably the best I can do to describe it. And it's also based on the universe of Fire Emblem Three Houses, which is my third favorite game at present. So that's really great that they could do another crossover with that universe. How about you? What have you been up to and how's your well-being doing? I hope I was able to answer your question properly on Twitter because sometimes it's easier for me to articulate things while talking than it is while typing. And apparently you're invisible too, Caitlin. Oh wait, no, you're not. I just had a dyslexia moment. Apparently the viewer count and the like count, I got mixed up. So I thought, wait a minute, how is no one watching this and one person liking it? I probably get it from my mom. She's also dyslexic, except in her case, it's really bad to the point where sometimes she'll ask me how to spell really basic words. And she'll say, like, I thought I knew that, but the letters are just getting mixed up in my head. I've never been officially diagnosed with dyslexia, but I definitely have my moments where I get things mixed up. So I'd like to think that whatever I have is just a genetic carryover from my mom's condition that isn't actually dyslexia, but it's like the genetics were weird in that particular case. The thing about genetics that I really like is I really like the fact that someone who came before you can influence how you are. Like my mom had brown hair for most of her life, so maybe that's why I have brown hair, as did my dad most of his life. In fact, my dad actually had long hair. I don't think, how do I word this? He didn't keep it as long as I've kept it. Like he cut his hair short pretty quickly on, but he had hair just like mine and he like showed a picture of himself when he was my age and people were like, "Dang, you two look alike." But nowadays people say I look more like my mom than my dad because Well, I guess my face is kind of becoming ovular lately, but with the puffy cheeks and the rounded forehead, I do look a little bit more like my mom. So I guess I can see it going both ways. Let me just make it clear to people on Discord that I'm going live just in case they didn't get the memo. And then if someone pops in, I will get to you momentarily because right now my eyes are occupied elsewhere. Alrighty, let's open Discord here. Oh, I apologize in advance if you guys don't like the background noise. Where I'm from, it just rained and it's also the summertime, so I need ventilation. But you guys don't seem to be that picky, so I'm not too worried. I just figured, that's common courtesy to ask. All right, come on, Discord. Stop being as slow as Sonic without his shoes. Speaking of Sonic, I recently got a new game called Sonic Origins, and I like it a lot better than most of the internet does. So I guess those people played those games too much on the original hardware. Oh my gosh, Discord's being weird. I'm just gonna forget it for now. Well, you know what? It is totally okay to have a day where not much goes on. That's been my day as well. So I really hope I really hope you can have more days like that, because, God said in the Old Testament that there are 6 days where you do your labor, but on the seventh day you rest. But I don't think he specifically said you can't rest on other days either, because obviously every human being has fatigue, every human being needs to sleep and eat. And it's not like you eat while you're working, at least I don't think you do. I can't imagine it being that easy to, at least at my job, that would be really weird. If I was like eating a cheeseburger while cleaning off the machines, I think I'd be worrying too much about the cheeseburger's crumbs or maybe like the ketchup spilling on the machines, and then I'll have to work doubly hard. So I think it's safe to say that the Sabbath day doesn't have to be the only day where you have to rest. So, a couple of big things that are going on in my life. I don't remember if I said this to you or a bit weird. I'm trying out the Discord thing again. I thought maybe I was a bit impatient. Is, of course, the gaming world has been going great. We just got an announcement for a game called Kirby's Dream Buffet. Also, Caitlin, you should try a game called Fall Guys. It's actually free on all platforms. The only real downside is that you have to have an internet connection. You can't really play offline, but long as you have good internet, it's a nice, fun obstacle course Mario Party type game, except instead of 4 players, you have 60 players at once. So if you can imagine that kind of chaos and also like maybe allow your mind to wander back to those old days of Nickelodeon game shows where they went through an obstacle course, I would say that's probably the closest thing you'll get to what Fall Guys is. Maybe also say a prayer for Discord because my God. Oh, here we go. It's going. It's going. It's going. Yes, it worked. All right. Let me just let everyone know. All right, let's pop the link here. Oh my gosh, stop being like molasses. I'm only going to do it in one Discord because just doing this is proving to be a pain. Okay, typing that out. Putting in the link. I think it's going slowly because I'm live and my computer just can't handle all of that. There we go. Okay, I'm out of here. Let's hope for the best now. Alrighty, so Caitlin, I was curious. Have you given any thought to going back on your YouTube channel? Because I'm still waiting for that big day when you return. I'm still very excited to hear another Catholic that talks about games besides me. Also, I don't know if you heard this, but did you hear that I just recently hit 300 video games that I've reviewed? My gosh. It feels like just yesterday when I reviewed Majora's Mask 3D. That was my first video game that I reviewed. And I made it a two-parter because excuse me, back then I didn't know how to keep my reviews concise, and so they ended up being more so blabbing and going into like the history of the Zelda series. But you know what? Can you expect anyone to get it right on their first try? Like, I'm amazed that I was even brave enough to make a review at all because, there you got people like the Wii viewer who's like the standard for reviews, in my opinion. And a lot of a lot of my current style actually comes from him. So if you guys really like reviews of more obscure games, because he doesn't really like doing the mainstream stuff, I highly recommend you check it out. It's spelled Wii with two I's, like the system, the Wii. And then viewer, I mean, you know how to spell viewer. So Wii, WII, viewer. Like reviewer, but for the Wii, because he started out back when the Wii was popular. And then even after the Wii U died down and then the Switch came out, he's like, I'm still going to call myself the Wii viewer because that's what I've been known as since the beginning of my channel. So I hope I didn't pick the wrong time to stream. Like, I know my streams are never scheduled in advance, but I really hope that this wasn't an inconvenient time for people because I don't know how you guys work. I have, well, I don't have too many good friends from Australia, but I have one. She's probably sleeping right now. When she wakes up, she's probably going to kill me and say, Paul, how do I don't want to imitate her accent because the last time I tried in my Nintendo Switch Sports review, she said I sounded too British. But that's because with Australia, they have so many different accents. At least it seems like that to me. Like it seems like one Australian person talks a certain way and then another talks another way, and then there's like Australian Americans where people that immigrate to America like sort of lose their accent. And so they sort of sound like a hybrid between both. So it's really hard for me to nail down exactly what accent she was looking for. But I still thought that comment was pretty funny because it means my British accent isn't terrible. There was something else I was going to show you guys, but I forgot what it was. Caitlin, were you there when I was showing off my physical games collection? Because if not, I can show you again. If you don't want to see it again, that's totally fine. I really like being able to show you guys something special when I'm live streaming. And a lot of times I don't like interrupting the live stream to show you guys the stuff. Like the last time I showed off my physical gaming collection, I like had it in a big pile next to me and then I would just reach down and say, "Here's the game." I guess this t-shirt is a bit of a keepsake as my brother helped design this. In fact, he was the primary designer. And this was the t-shirt that we wore on our mission trip. Our second mission trip, to be exact. Well, it was mine and my brother's second mission trip. And what was really cool about that trip is out of everyone that came on the previous one, both chaperones and teenagers, only two people from that original group didn't show up. And we also got some newbies, so that was nice. Uh, well, I didn't start out with footage either, Caitlin. So if you think that you have enough of like a stage presence, or if you want to like grab pictures from YouTube images, that could be like a placeholder if you're not too comfortable with your footage. What games do you like? Because maybe I can make a suggestion. Because I think I might be your biggest fan at the moment. So I think maybe that would warrant. Oh my gosh. So, since you wanted to see my game collection again, maybe this can give you suggestions too. Like, maybe you'll say, "Ooh, I like that game. I want to do it." So, first off, we have my favorite video game, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and I got it on Wii U on launch day. Even had an unboxing and unwrapping video, although that was back when I had a girlfriend. So, maybe you guys would be embarrassed to see, like, Paul was in love? What the heck? Then we have the great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which, my gosh, it felt like we would never get this in the West because this is a collection of two 3DS games that were released in Japan. And I think, oh, hey, Sploon, glad you could join us. Or I guess you guys see Baby Hawks. She goes by both. Did you get the memo on Peggle's Discord or did you get the memo from YouTube? Because I wasn't sure which ones were actually working. How are you doing this morning? Caitlin wanted to see my gaming collection again. Have you seen it before? Because if not, I can show you for the first time ever. I was also saying that I've been really enjoying the new Fire Emblem Warriors. I'm going on vacation in a month. And this t-shirt that I'm wearing has very sentimental value to me. It was designed mostly by my brother. I think I helped a little bit, but not very much. And this we wore this on our second mission trip, and that was my third favorite of all the mission trips I've been on, and also one of the best weeks of my life. Your own disc. Oh, that's right, because you have StreamCord. That's cool that it tells you when I'm live as well. Okay, cool. All right, well, since you haven't seen it, I guess I'll start over. So first off, we have my favorite video game, The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild. And stop me if you guys are getting bored of this, because I don't want to, I don't want to take away your rights to ask questions. But yeah, this is my favorite game, and it would probably take too long to explain why. But the short answer is that I've always really loved things like hiking and exploration adventures. And my favorite novel is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. So that book had a lot of like open environments where the characters would wander around trying to figure out what to do. So that's a big part of why I love Breath of the Wild. And I'm also a huge Zelda nerd. Not as big as some other people I know. Like there are definitely some Zelda games I hate, but this one is still my favorite. And it also lets you climb pretty much everything and paraglide, so that's a big factor. Then we have the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, which is, if you haven't played an Ace Attorney game, it's basically a courtroom simulator, except not a very accurate one because a lot of times they don't act like actual legal procedures. So it's more of like a satire of courts. But this particular entry actually tried really hard to be authentic to the time period. It was during I think it was either the 19th or the 20th century where Japan and Britain really didn't get along. So there's a lot of racist terminology, which probably was the reason why we waited like 5 years for this to come. But I personally think this is probably one of the best Ace Attorney games, even though it doesn't star Phoenix Wright. And it also stands on its own really well. So if you guys ever get it, don't feel like you're missing out if you haven't played the other Ace Attorneys. Then we have Neo, The World Ends With You. This is a very hard game to describe if you haven't played the original game. I seriously don't even know how to describe it. It's like there's enemies that you fight in real time, but you can fight with up to 6 people at once, and like each person is mapped to a different button, so you're doing a lot of controller arithmetics to make sure you're controlling everyone at the same time. And every character that's still alive since the previous game, they had their voice actor return for the role. Well, except for one, but that voice actor still returned for something else. And it has really good music, and it was just so cool seeing a sequel to the original World Ends With You after so long. Then we have Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. No, I'm not ashamed to show the price tag. And I know I already have this digitally, but I really wanted to support the creator. So I decided to buy it again because, I had some leftover money on my gift card. And I'm just such a huge fan of this game. And it came with physical merchandise. I think I showed you guys the last time. You probably won't be very impressed. And some of you that know what Doki Doki is might think, oh gosh, Paul, what the heck are you doing with a dating game? But this game is not only a satire of anime, but a satire of dating games. And it was made by an American. So this here was not made by a Japanese anime artist. It was made by an American who hated anime. So it was a satire. And you know me, I love my satires. Then we have Mario Party Superstar. Oh, before I go on, do you guys want me to continue or do you want me to pause? Because I don't want to. I want to make sure I'm not boring you guys. So if you could just confirm that with me first, that you're not bored, and then I'll continue if you want me to. Also, if you guys all want to talk about like how your days have been going, Caitlin, I think I heard your answer. Sploon, if you want to talk about your day, feel free to do that. Also, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, cool. Glad to hear it. I'm sure you know this already, Sploon, but I am not good at reading people's emotions. So I really appreciate you guys being so forward about what you're feeling slash not feeling. Well, hopefully this stream can make it like better than okay, because that would make my day, knowing that I made someone's day. So next up, we have Mario Party Superstars, which is a collection of like several classic boards and mini games from throughout Mario Party's past, which sounds lazy, but I personally think this is the direction Mario Party should have gone in for a very long time, as the game looks great, plays great. Most of the time, it actually has good online, which is a rarity for Nintendo Switch games, and I have huge nostalgia for the Mario Party games on the Nintendo 64. So this is like a dream come true for me. And yes, I actually bought it because I normally like to rent games to save money, but this game is just so good that I couldn't resist. Then we have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is basically just a revamped port of the Wii U game that I already have. So originally I didn't want to buy this. Not a problem, Sploon. Good luck with that. I originally wanted to not buy this because I already have it on the Wii U, and there weren't enough changes and improvements to warrant a second purchase. But then I had some leftover money on a gift card, so I said, why not? I've got nothing better to lose. And then the very same day that I bought this, Nintendo announced that 48 new tracks were coming via DLC. So I was like, that was really good timing because I did not expect that. Then we have the Nintendo Labo Toy Con Kit, which by itself, this cartridge doesn't really mean a whole lot. But thanks to what was on the cartridge, it allowed me to make this. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, that was a stretch of my arms. Okay, here we go. Oh, oof. That hurt. It could have also just been because I just ate. It allowed me to make a VR kit out of cardboard and plastic. So, yeah. It allowed me to have a virtual reality kit for my Switch. And now I don't know. There we go. Now it's back on. So I kept this only because, I don't know. You can't really sell Labo after you've opened it because it's all cardboard. Then we have Danganronpa Decadence, which is a collection of the first 3 mainline Danganronpa games, plus an all-new game called Danganronpa S, which is so terrible and boring, I'm not even going to bother talking about it. I know Danganronpa games are pretty risque and probably not the most Catholic thing to play, but I really love the mystery aspect of it. I love like putting together the pieces logically and solving the mystery. And it also reminds me a lot of Ace Attorney. So it was nice having all of this on one package, especially because it wasn't coming to the Switch for so long. Yes, it actually works, Caitlin. Obviously, it doesn't work right now because it doesn't have the Switch into it. But what you do is you take the Switch and you remove the Joy-Con. Oh, sorry, you got to be able to see it. So you remove the Joy-Cons, and then you take this. Well, first you got to take off the cover, and then you slide the Switch. Which way was it? In this way, with the back facing the front. It's being a little tricky. So you slide it in that way. So then you attach the Joy-Cons from the side so that you can still like actually play your Switch. That just barely fit. And then you put your eyes in like this. Wow, even Without the Switch games on, I can still see all the dust as though it's in virtual reality. So yeah, there you go. A cardboard virtual reality kit. It's not the best virtual reality tech. Like there's definitely better products out there, and there are even dedicated video game systems that are like designed for VR, but it gets the job done. It's it's given me some good times and definitely made me feel like I was back on the softball team like I used to be. We have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which is my second favorite game. And this is, well, it's just really cool to see so many different franchises coming together in one game. Oh, hey, Sploon. You didn't miss much. You just missed these three games: Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Nintendo Labo, and Danganronpa Decadence. So to briefly summarize, Danganronpa is a game that's kind of like Ace Attorney, where you solve mysteries in a courtroom and piece together logical information. And it's like four games in one. Nintendo Labo allowed me to make this, which is a virtual reality kit made out of cardboard and plastic. And we also have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I had the Wii U version. And then the very same day that I bought this, because I had some leftover money on my gift card, Nintendo announced that 48 more tracks were coming to the game. So that was really good timing. I think you would like the games better than the anime, Sploon, because they don't require too much gaming skill. It's mostly a lot of reading. And you also get to like solve the mysteries by thinking, okay, what truth bullet do I need to shoot here? How did the killer execute the plan? Admittedly, since you watched the first Danganronpa anime, you might be spoiled by a lot of the plot twists, but they did skim over a lot of things. You probably have a few mysteries. Also, you'll be glad to know that I thought you were coming specifically, so I tried really hard to comb my hair before starting this live stream. I don't know how successful it was because it's so humid and that probably messed up my hair, but I tried for your sake because I know you like me to have a bit more of a presentable look. So yeah, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, fantastic game. The DLC made it even more fantastic because, in case you guys didn't notice, I'm a huge fan of Banjo and Kazooie. Nintendo held a ballot saying, what characters would you like in Smash? And I said I wanted Banjo, and they later confirmed that my vote, along with all the other votes, made it come true. So I literally influenced game development. Then we have Super Mario Odyssey, which is like Breath of the Wild, a game that's all about running around and exploring, with a lot of emphasis on jumping over things. And Mario can like throw his cap to possess various things. Like, I don't know how well you can see it, but he can even possess this T-Rex on the box. And inside the box, again, you probably can't see it very well, but they have the lyrics to that game's main theme, Jump Up Superstar, which is so catchy, and I never thought that would work in a Mario game, but it did. Then I honestly regret buying this, but this is Skyward Sword HD, which is just Skyward Sword without motion controls. Eh. I would probably sell it, but this game has really good boss battles, and you can play them anytime, so I will do that another time. Hello, Jevil! I am doing great. Just re-showing my gaming collection to Caitlin, showing it for the first time to Sploon, and I'm also just really enjoying Three Hopes and excited for my vacation. And since you weren't here yet, Jevil, this t-shirt has so much sentimental value to me because my brother helped design it. He's way better of an artist than me. And we wore this on our second mission trip. And as of today, it's been exactly 11 years and 3 days since the trip. Yes, 11 years. The other trip was, never mind. And finally, not finally, where's Three Houses? So next we have, well, let me just ignore this top part. We have Bowser's Fury, which is a game where you play as Mario, and Bowser's like really big and ginormous and furious, and you have to try to stop him. I hate 3D World, so that's why I'm covering it up. So I'm just going to pretend that this was cut in half and enjoy it for that. And then you can't really see the game itself, but this is Fire Emblem Three Houses. Here's inside of Garreg Mach Monastery. I bought the game with the special edition, which you can't really see from here, but I still have the special edition box, which came with an art book and the soundtrack and a whole bunch of other stuff that I got exclusively because I'm that much of a Fire Emblem fan. If I was a bit richer, I probably would have gotten 3 hopes on day 1, but I'm a poor boy. I don't really get too much in terms of external support. I only get 150 a month because my job has limited hours, and so I basically have to work for everything. Like literally, I have to go to my job and make a living. So you have to learn how to cut corners when it comes to video games when you're a poor guy. What about you, Jevil? What's been going on with you? Sorry, Spoon, I forgot to respond to your Odyssey comment. I I think that game would work really well for you too because it has an assist mode where if you're what's the word? If you're having trouble knowing where to go or what to do, the game will like put arrows on the ground. You might find that a bit too simple, but it's better than nothing. And you can play it in 2 players, where one player controls Mario's hat. Bet you never thought that would happen. And it's just got really good graphics. And I also like how to emphasize the various kingdoms. The graphic style actually changes depending on where you are. So it's like hyper realistic in one world, then more cubic in another. And it's just so cool how they mix those two together. Oh, that's cool. You're getting the Steve amiibo. I don't know if I told you this, Jevil, but $150 a month is the bonus that I get. I have to work for the rest of the money that I get. So I don't only get $150 a month, but that's how much I get from the government. So, yeah, I'm barely scraping by as it is, which is why I still live with my parents and sister. And oof, yeah, I am really hoping for something to come along and save me from my financial struggles. So when I was complaining about the economy the other day, Spoon, now you know why I was complaining about it. But yes, I do have a job, but I only work 9 hours a week. So that's also barely livable. So 9 hours a week, $10 an hour, plus $150 a month. You can probably imagine my monthly salary and then say, like, geez, no wonder why you rent games. So you might want to bust out your calculator there. Yeah. Delaying a Smash Brothers amiibo just seems so weird to me because, like, my gosh, Smash is already finished, but there's like more Smash merchandise coming. That's like kind of a cool concept. So I don't know how much I've told you guys about this vacation that I'm going on. There's admittedly not too much on the agenda, but I'm going to go visit a YouTube friend of mine. I'm not even going to try to hide who it is. If you want, you can check out the YouTuber SL's Psychology Life Hacks. We've known each other since 2020. And in her words, she said, at least something good came out of that. And I work at Anytime Fitness, Spoon. Basically, I'm the janitor there, but it doesn't take that long to janitor the whole gym because it's a relatively small place. Compared to what you're thinking of in a gym, it's like ridiculously small, probably about as big as a house, like a normal living house approximately. So I get in there, and after I've worked about 3 hours, then I'm done for the day. There's really nothing else to do. And since I don't know how to work a computer that well, I can't really do the office work. And not only that, but my boss doesn't want me to work any longer than that because if I do, then she says that's just too unnecessary with the little amount of work there is. So I guess she wants me to be able to work by myself so that I don't know. It's really confusing. So that's why I'm hoping to get a second job because I definitely don't want to quit. I think my boss is incredible and she lays things out in a way that I can understand really well. And, the patrons are usually pretty nice to me. Some of them will even come up to me and start a conversation, but I definitely need a second job or a raise. But I'm also thinking I might work at the other Anytime Fitness location that's 20 minutes away from my house so that I can be like a double employee working at both buildings. So we will see. We will see. Just say your prayers, Spoon, because I know you're Catholic. Yeah, Javel, if you want, I can put a link to the rental service I do here in the chat, and then you can possibly try that out. And if they ask for a referral, then you can go ahead and use my name if you want to. I think I'm just Paul on there. I don't think I have any special nickname. My computer loads a bit slower when I'm doing live streams, so I apologize in advance if it takes too long. But yes, I've been using Gamefly for about 3 or 4 years now, and it's usually been pretty reliable. In fact, they're so reliable that they've actually been giving me special perks because I've been a loyal subject. There you go, Jevel. Check out that link and maybe you can find an affordable price. Oh yeah. Really, the only thing I don't like about my job is the fact that I only work 9 hours a week. But apart from that, it's like a dream job. Yeah, I think another good thing about renting is that it gives you a chance to try out games that you might like be skeptical about, but then you can rent them and if you don't like it, you can give it back without regretting losing your money. Sploon, you might also want to try Gamefly as well. I know you're not much of a gamer, but they also have like movies and toys that you can buy. So I don't know if you want to rent a movie, you could do that. Just know that they're primarily known for games, so don't go in expecting them to have the greatest movie selection because, again, that's not what they're known for. Oh, Tetris. I forgot that Tetris was on the Wii until you said that. I have Tetris 99, which is pretty fun. I've actually come in first place a few times. I never thought I'd be able to do that. Like, I got Tetris 99 right when it first came out, and I was terrible at it at first. So I remember in my official review, I said, like, man, I would feel so good if I got in 10th place. And now I've gotten in third place. Now I've gotten in third place, or not third place, first place on several occasions. Yo, it's Kat. Hey, I'm doing great. My gosh, you missed some really great things, Kat. So to briefly summarize, I showed off my gaming collection again because Sploon hadn't seen it. I was also about to talk about my vacation, but then I wanted to answer Sploon's question. And I was also talking about how my job situation kind of stinks. Like, I love my job. I love my boss. I love my coworkers. Don't like how long I'm working because I only work 9 hours a week. So I'm hoping to get a second job so that I can pay my bills. So, Kat, since you're here, that's a perfect segue into what I was about to talk about, which is the vacation. Oh, wait, silly me. Before I talk about that, I want to hear like how did your work go and do you have any epic news you want to share with us? And I'm glad you could make it to the stream. I was specifically thinking, like, I hope you two can make it in particular, because if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be streaming. So I guess you could say this stream was named after you, Kat. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did say you guys and girls wanted this. So and that was what I was specifically referencing. What is your oh yeah, it's just a tiny cat. It looks like you're crossing out something on your profile picture at first. I've still got so much water, so maybe I'll actually go for over an hour today. The boy? I don't think I was specifically referring to you. When I say guys, it's a general statement because when I went to school, there were hardly any girls at the school, so we just kind of called everyone guy and sir. So it's sort of a bad habit that I've slipped into. But now that we're in the modern era, I might have to try to retrain my brain not to do that anymore. Hey there, Matthew. I'm you don't usually comment on my videos, so I apologize in advance if I act like you're a stranger, but I'm really glad you could be here. I'm about to talk about an upcoming vacation, so it's you guys have really good timing today. Oh, that's great news, Kat. That is really great news. I am glad to hear that you got a little bit of a break. Okay, so vacation time. So I will be gone from August 3rd to 7th. As far as the Australian people, I guess you could say it's from the 4th to the 8th. So if I forget to tell Peggle, Kat and Sploon, you guys will be my reminders. And I guess Jevel too. I guess all of you can mention I'm going on vacation because Cat and Spoon, you're a bit new, but there was a while for like 2 months back in 2021 when my computer wasn't working, and Pagel was like freaking out because she like really, I guess, I don't want to say she likes me, but I think she appreciates my company. And she, every time I don't show up on the Discord for like 2 days in a row, she worries that maybe my computer broke again. So that's why I want to make sure that she knows I'm going on vacation so that she doesn't think that happened again. Nope, not going to Hawaii. Oh, that's cool, Caitlin. I will keep that in mind. Good that you're also good with that, Spoon. I guess modern culture is a bit more lenient then. So I'm going to, I don't want to say exactly where, that might be a little bit of private information, but I am going on a 15-hour drive to meet this person. We for those of you that jumped in a little bit later, I've known her since 2020. So as she worded it, something good came out of 2020. We're going to be doing a little bit of filming. So, both of us have YouTube channels. So we both want to make sure that our experiences get to you guys so that you can see it. We're also going to be doing like some in-person collaborations because we would have done that, but we decided, hey, we're in person. Let's do it since we're actually seeing each other. So a few things that have just been like that would have just been normal things on my channel. I'm starting to turn saying things so much are going to be with her. So we don't have too much of an agenda besides we want to film a bit and we're going to go to a water park. We're going to be going to one of the Six Flags water parks because now that I got over my fear of the water, I like to go swimming as much as possible. I've been slacking off a bit lately, but once it stops raining and once I'm not as tired as I usually am lately, I plan on going to the lake a lot more. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen was a bit of an outdated term nowadays. They used to do that at like circuses and stuff like that. So I guess you could say the vacation is like what I'm the most excited about this year. I imagine there could be something that tops it. Like, I don't know, maybe Xenoblade Chronicles 3 will, but I highly doubt it because because I really like moments where I get to see someone that I don't normally see. Like when I chaperoned the National Catholic Youth Conference, I ran into quite a few familiar faces that I had seen. Like, for example, I saw one of the girls from one of my mission trips, and I did not expect to see her there. We didn't even keep in touch after that. I was just like, "Whoa, you're here! That's so cool!" Oh, hey, JP. Glad you could make it even for a couple of seconds. Yeah, hopefully I have enough water to for you to come back. Yeah, the drive is probably going to be a bit hard, but I'm used to going on mission trips that have longer drives than that. For our mission trip in 2015, we had to take a charter bus, and that was, well, I don't remember exactly how many hours, but we like woke up or we got to the parking lot at about I think 6 or 7 in the evening and then ended up sleeping overnight on the bus so that we got to the camp at about 2 in the afternoon the following day. So I am used to that. I still haven't played Portal yet, Jevil, because I'm focusing on Three Hopes. I've learned my lesson from Neo the World Ends With You and Great Ace Attorney Chronicles that I need to do one game at a time so that I'm not juggling them so that my reviews don't end up being confusing. You've heard of NCYC? Oh my gosh, that's so cool, Kat. My gosh, you and I will have to share stories about that sometime. I've only ever went in a chaperoning capacity, but I've been to 3 of them, and I loved them so much. I am very excited about Pokemon Puzzle League, Matthew. I am so excited about it, in fact, that it's actually kind of becoming a meme on Peggle's Discord because one of our members there, her name is Yubi. She's like this huge Pokemon nerd, and I've actually I don't actually like Pokemon that much. I'm actually known as the Pokemon hater among my Discord tags. So when I said that Pokemon Puzzle League was coming and Yubi wasn't excited, I said, "What? A Pokemon game that I'm more excited than Yubi is?" It was really funny. Yeah, I'm really surprised that NCYC didn't bother canceling because back in I think 2021 was when the next one was slated to be. The after COVID hit, they just said, "Nope, we're still going to do it. If we have to take precautions, we will, but we are not going to cancel NCYC unless it's a drastic emergency." Which is weird because one of my local conferences in my home state decided that they were going to completely cancel, and the number of people that came to that was only like 2,000. So a 23,000 people conference was still going, but a 2,000 person conference wasn't. I don't know. Maybe they didn't get enough money because 2,000 compared to 23,000, very different financial. I don't know. It's weird. But at least I chaperoned the very last one. Puzzles and Dragons was a decent game on the 3DS. I'll give you that, Jevil. It didn't last very long, but I thought it was decent. Um, you can go as a chaperone, Cat. Like, well, admittedly, being a chaperone isn't actually that hard at all. Like, I thought it would be the super involved process, but really, all you gotta do is you gotta be good at head counting and just make sure you always know where your group is. And that's pretty much it. Like, you don't even really have to be with your group the whole time. Like, you can just say like, "Okay, if you guys are going to the modules, just meet here at this time and I'm going to do my own thing." Like, that's what I always did, at least. So, you could probably still go. Just contact your youth group and see if they'll let you chaperone. If I could ask God one question, oh, that's an easy one. I would say, am I doing a good enough job? Because sometimes my anxiety takes over and I think that like I did something so sinful that it's going to prolong my time in purgatory, and I just really want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing even if it means that other people are going to hate me. I want to please God first and foremost. Admittedly, most of you are nice enough that you don't hate me. And I appreciate that, but I'm also not trying to make you guys like me. I'm trying to make God be pleased. So whatever he wants me to do is what I want to do as well. So that is what I would ask him is, am I doing the right thing? I would probably also want to ask like, hey, am I going to be able to go to heaven? But I feel like that would make me too big-headed, thinking like, oh, I can get away with all these sins because I know that I'm saved. But that's a Protestant mindset. In the Catholic Church, we believe that salvation is an ongoing process. And I think pretty much all of you in this chat can back me up because Caitlin, Sploon, and Kat, they're also all Catholics. But yeah, like, you can say like, hey, Jesus is cool and all that, and I respect him. But then you can go and do this awful sin, and then Jesus is going to be like, what the heck? I told you to follow the commandments. In fact, the reading that we had this past Saturday for Mass, I went to a visual Mass, so maybe it's a little bit different than the Sunday readings, but it was the parable of the Good Samaritan. And the lawyer before Jesus said the parable, said, "Teacher, what must I do to be saved?" And Jesus said, "What did Moses tell you in the law?" So there's an example right there of where Jesus did not immediately say, "Oh, just follow me and believe in me and you'll be saved." Instead, he said, "What does the law say?" So the scholar repeated the law and he said, like, "Yeah, this is what Moses said. These are the commandments." And Jesus said, "Okay, follow them. You have eternal life." But then he's like, "But who's my neighbor?" And that's when Jesus told the story of the Good Samaritan. So I think it's really cool to get the background of that because it shows that faith in Jesus alone just doesn't cut it. You got to also be able to follow his laws and love one another. So I guess you could say, even if you're not like in love with everybody, you still have to love everyone, if that makes any sense. Uh, yeah. I wouldn't say I get the mirror analogy, but I definitely can get I definitely can get that paralyzation feeling. Not necessarily literally, but I can feel like if I don't act on this anxiety, I can make some pretty like I'd have a pretty bad chest ache. Like I had an anxiety attack at work the other day, and thankfully my friend was able to text me right back and help me out. Oh, that's cool, Caitlin. Glad to hear that I didn't miss anything. Although, weirdly, one time I went to Mass on one of my retreats, and my parents went to Mass at their regular parish. And when I said, "Hey, we heard the parable of the prodigal son," my mom was like, "That's not what we heard." So I don't know if maybe the retreat house was being rebellious or if, like, maybe on retreats they have different readings. I don't know what happened there. Yes, in fact, that is actually how the Catholic Church got its name, Sploon, is that Catholic means universal, meaning everywhere across the world believes the same thing, and pretty much the biggest difference between masses is the language. Like, sure, certain customs might be a little bit different. Like, I know some of you might be scandalized by this, but I've looked into it. In some cultures, the bishop has even permitted topless women to bring up the gifts. So in some cultures, like their modesty standards are totally different. In some cultures, the music might be more upbeat, and in some it might be more solemn. So there's different, like, there's few minor differences, but for the most part, there's pretty much everything is within unity of what the catechism teaches. The bishop is a term used in the Catholic Church for the leaders of the church. Now, the big leader of the entire church is the Pope, but the Pope obviously can't do everything. Like, he's located in one area, but then the bishops are like in charge of individual areas. Like, for example, I'm in what's called the Diocese of Lansing, which is a particular area of my home state. And there's a bishop that is in charge of like local regulations of that particular area. And then there's the priests, which are like the bishop's co-workers, where the bishop will say, "This is what I want you to do," and the priest will say, "Okay, sure," as long as it doesn't go against the priest's conscience. Because if the priest feels like he's morally unable to follow, he has the right to say, my conscience doesn't feel good about this." So the priests celebrate the mass, the bishops are more like the leaders, and the pope is more like the president, but for the church instead of for the country. Does that make sense? And yes, the bishops actually, the reason why the bishops wear the pointy hats is because they are supposed to be based off of a shepherd. And that's also why they carry the big stick. Uh, I don't really follow too much about what Pope Francis says, which I don't know. I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not, but thankfully my dad's an apologist, so I can just ask him. But I think the biggest problem that people have with Pope Francis is that he doesn't speak English. And I think as a result, they're not able to take what he's saying in context, or maybe the language barrier makes it so that it's hard to understand what he's actually trying to say. Because, like, certain things in another language can mean something totally different. Like in Greek, they have 6 different words for love, whereas in English, we only have one. And so a lot of times with us, we have to over clarify things like, I love you as a friend, I love you as a brother, I love you as a spouse. Whereas in Greek, they just have different words for that. I know that the Pope was given a copy of Undertale by MatPat, but I didn't know he actually played Megalovania. That's news to me. Because the year that MatPat gave him the copy of Undertale was when Pope Francis called it the Year of Mercy. I mean, yes, English is great. The, okay, so this can sound a bit heretical without context, but Pope Francis is not allowed to change a dogmatic teaching of the church, but he is allowed to say that certain elements of how the church's teachings are presented can be changed. For instance, he can say, guys, let's maybe not be so mean when teaching people about reconciliation. Let's present it in a different way so that people of this culture can understand it. One example of a very early pope, way before Pope Francis's time, was when it used to be that you had to go, I think, overnight without eating in order to receive the Eucharist because people were more used to long work days back then. But then in the modern era, people were fainting on the way to church from not eating for so long. So that Pope said, okay, let's change it to you only have to fast from eating for an hour before communion. So then that was more reasonable to the modern stomach that's more used to eating lots of meals. And then that got changed to you only have to do that if you don't have a health condition, because some people have to be eating constantly because they have blood sugar. And then that got changed to you can have water, you just can't have food, because you can go up to a week without food, but you can only go 3 days without water. So, I mean, I can't go without water on a live stream, or my voice would be getting too sore. So, I think people think that Pope Francis is trying to change the church, but what he's actually trying to do is he's trying to change its presentation. As long as he doesn't like try to say things like, no, Mary wasn't a virgin. She totally had sex after Jesus. Like that would be heretical. And that's where I would say, now wait a minute. The church proclaimed Mary's perpetual virginity to be a dogmatic teaching. So if you say that that's false, then you're an anti-pope. As long as he's not doing that, then that should be fine. Yeah, I try to even out my water sips, but it doesn't always work. Sometimes when I get home from work, I'm so hot because I like to walk to work to get better exercise. And man, I'll just be like gulping down that water so quickly. Because where I am from, it is hot outside. I'm sure where you guys are from, the weather isn't exactly snowflakes and rainbows either. You're allowed to make tea at your job, Kat? That is so cool. Because I only work 3 hours, I told this to Sploon already. I only work 9 hours a week at my job, so I don't really get lunch breaks at my job because it's so limited. I mean, there have been a handful of times where I was sort of out of my element and I asked my boss if I could go get something to eat. But thankfully, in the same plaza where Any Time is located, there's also a dollar store. So it didn't take me long to just go, like, literally, like, from here to here to get some food, as long as I was able to get the job done, and I did. So, what's it like working at McDonald's? Because I've always been told, like, McDonald's is only for teenagers or college students that don't care much about their job and are only in it for the short term. Whereas when I try to get a job, I like to be into it for the long term. Like, I am not the type of person that likes change very much, in case you guys haven't noticed. I like things to be consistent and similar. I better plug in my computer. It's almost out of battery. Let's see, where did the charger go? Here we go. Oof. Okay. There we go. All right. Patrick Star drinks water when he's a starfish that lives underwater. That is so ironic. Ugh. But yeah, McDonald's seems like the kind of place I'd sort of like to work at, but at the same time, like, I don't think I'd be very good at the cooking aspect of it, especially because where I'm from, we are warm-blooded creatures, so we don't do too well in the heat. So I think if I was around all those flames and fumes, I wouldn't be very good at it. Because I used to work at Culver's, and Culver's is like a slightly higher end fast food than McDonald's. And so I was the dining room host, which basically meant that I would be in charge of cleaning the eating area. I would be in charge of taking care of the customers' orders. When I first started working there, I was in charge of getting drinks because due to COVID restrictions, the customers weren't allowed to get their own drinks. And eventually, the managers trusted me so much that I also did what was called running, where if a person called in their food, I would just take it out to their car and hand it to them through their window. And also, like, if the customers had a complaint or if they needed something, they would say, like, Paul, do you think you could get me some more ketchup? And I'd say, like, coming right up. So basically, I did everything except the cashier and the cooking and the drive through. Okay, that's nice. Well, that's good that you care about your job, Kat, because I certainly hope that people will be willing to take their job seriously even if they don't like it. Because first and foremost, if you're at a job, you're there to serve people. Whatever you say, Jevil. I'm sure people can make up their own minds about how old I am. I mean, there was one time where I was chaperoning. Yes, chaperoning a conference. And I was walking towards the module for the adults. And someone said to me, "What do you think you're doing walking away from where you're supposed to be?" And I said, are the adults supposed to be there? And they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were a middle schooler." And I'm thinking, okay, I can get it if people think I look like a high schooler, but a middle schooler? Those guys are ridiculously underdeveloped. Like, I mean, I at least look like I'm fully grown, don't I? Like, I've got the broad shoulders, I've got I look like a man who doesn't need any more developing, don't I? You wouldn't think I would be one of those scrawny shouldered, ridiculously, well, I guess I am still ridiculously thin, but like even thinner as a middle schooler. I don't know. It just, it's just, it's funny. So, what exactly do you do then, Kat? Like, do you do a mixture of everything? So, it definitely sounds like there are some people that would do more of what I did at Culver's. Well, at least you can agree on that, Sploon. Freshman year of high school. Oh, that's funny. The thing is, I've already stated that I'm an adult on many occasions, mainly because I want to avoid creepy things going on. So, unfortunately, you're wrong, Jovel, but I appreciate the compliment. That is really unfortunate, Kat. Like, my gosh, when I was at Culver's, sure, we'd have moments where there was nothing to do and we'd lounge around, but it didn't mean that we didn't care. It just meant that we didn't know how to pass the time any better. But I was that person who, as soon as the customers left, I would, be right back to scrubbing tables and vacuuming the floor and sweeping up like dust or leaves on the ground. And so I very much cared about my job. I actually loved it at Culver's. The only reason I didn't stay was because I had to move. I didn't want to move. It was kind of, I didn't really have a choice in the matter. But had I not moved, I probably would have stayed at Culver's for the rest of my life. It is, it was a very well paying job. I worked 5 days a week from, I think it was 9 to 3, and I got a pretty decent salary. And it was so decent, in fact, that I was able to buy my friend a Switch with money to spare. And now I cringe whenever I have to buy anything. So I would really appreciate all of your prayers if you guys can pray that I get either a second job or a raise or something where I can feel like I have some spending money. I mean, I think working up front might be a little bit of a relief because I feel like most people who order food at McDonald's wouldn't give you too much trouble, but maybe I'm thinking too much of Culver's. What do you mean by not the sentiments? When I think of sentiments, I think of like sentimental value, or do you mean condiments? But yeah, that was my favorite part of being at Culver's too, was I really liked interacting with the customers. Nowadays, I don't really like interacting with the customers at my job. I mean, I'll still say like hi and bye and did you enjoy your workout? But I also wish that the gym would just not have any people so that I could get my job done because one of the things my boss told me was if someone is busy on the machine, don't get in their way, like just wait to clean it later. And sometimes my anxiety takes over and I'm just like, but will there be a later? Like, will I be able to get the job done? And thankfully, there hasn't really been a day where I haven't been able to get the job done at all. Usually I've been able to check off pretty much everything, but every now and then I worry about that. Uh, oh, that kind of sentiment. You mean that's generally not the consensus of attitude. I get it. Gotcha. Thanks for the clarification. You know, that that quote that you just said, Kat, that's actually the total opposite of what my boss told me. When I was at Culver's, he very specifically said, Paul, even though we want you to clean up the dining room, if a customer needs you, drop everything you're doing and help that customer. So it definitely, and he would even go even farther, like during the training videos that he showed me, he would make sure to call the customers guests to make it even more apparent that the customers were the primary focus of the workers. Huh, a Fire Emblem with a 4 in it? The only Fire Emblem I can think of that has a number in it is Thracia 776, but that is currently a Japan exclusive, so I have never played it because I personally don't believe in emulation. I definitely think there may come a time when I change my mind, especially with the way Nintendo's been treating things. But for now, I just don't have the technical know-how to get that working. And I also think that it takes away the money from like people that are actually trying to make games and make a living out of it. But no matter what the next Fire Emblem title is, I'm probably going to love it. There's only really been one Fire Emblem game that I haven't liked, and that was Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon. So that's a pretty good track record. Interesting. I didn't know they charged extra for sauces. Because I was always told that you could just grab whatever you want. My favorite lord in Fire Emblem is Ike. I know that's probably an unpopular opinion because who has played the Tellius games? You guys probably don't even know what I'm talking about when I say Tellius, but I really like how Ike was the first Fire Emblem lord who wasn't royalty. He was just a simple mercenary, which for those of you that don't know, a mercenary is a hired swordsman, meaning like someone will say, I will give you money to get this task done or to clear out some bandits. So that was basically Ike. And I just really like how blunt he is and how he does not get along with nobility at all because he has no filter. And he kind of just reminds me of like me a little bit because I also don't really have a filter, as you guys can tell by the pinned. Did I make it pinned? Oh, shoot. I forgot to pin the message. I better do that. There we go. Okay, now it should be pinned. Okay, cool. Let me make sure I've got what you guys are saying. Well, I don't know if I'd have the tools to do emulation, even if I were to word it. Let's see. I have considered Patreon, but I didn't really know how to work it. So if someone teaches me how to do it, maybe I could try it. Subscribe Star, I've never heard of. So you would have to maybe give me some more details. Maybe send me a Twitter message about how to do that. That could be an option as well. My brother honestly says I should have gotten a Patreon a long, long time ago because he said, Paul, you've reviewed 300 video games and you haven't gotten paid a dime for it. He's like, the laborer deserves his wages. Sheesh. So the thing is that I didn't want to charge people for my stuff, but at my current financial state, I might be getting to the point where I have to. Oh, extra sauce. I get it. I thought you were talking about like ketchup. Okay, I see. Something the matter, Caitlin? Because I did not delete your messages. That was entirely you. So I hope it wasn't Autobot. I don't actually have an Autobot on. I have a thing that'll like hold messages if they're inappropriate, but I don't think you're the type that would say inappropriate stuff. So I apologize in advance if something happened. Whew. Well, Kat, I'm really glad you're talking all about your McDonald's job because it's allowing me to reminisce about my time at Culver's, which you all know me. If I have an excuse to reminisce, I will. YouTube guidelines? Um, Okay, regarding YouTube guidelines, I have a love-hate relationship with that. On one hand, obviously, I don't want to show inappropriate stuff that YouTube wouldn't want being shown. Like if they say don't show kids in your videos, it's like, okay, that's reasonable. That could be potentially dangerous to show children. But some of their guidelines are tips in which how to grow your audience. And maybe I'm being a bit petty by saying this, but I feel like I don't really like taking their advice because it comes across as fake. So, for example, some things that a lot of popular YouTubers will say is make sure you like and hit that subscribe button. I don't like that. I like to respect my audience's intelligence, that they know that the like and subscribe buttons exist. So I don't want to treat them like babies that they don't know what it is. And also, if they don't like the video or if they don't like me, then they don't have to subscribe. They don't have to like. They can just say, Paul, you stink, and then move on with their lives. So by saying make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, it'll pressure them to want to do something that they're not, therefore making them liars. And I hate it when people lie. That's probably the thing I hate most in the world is lying. I don't even like it when people tell white lies. Like if I ask someone how are you doing and they say good when they're not good, then that's going to really irritate me. I also don't like how a lot of YouTubers have sponsors because it's like just get to the video already. I really don't care about what you're advertising like in the slightest. Who cares about Raid Shadow Legends? I don't like I don't like a lot of things about what YouTube says to get popular. I mean, I already have over 600 subscribers, and I think that's huge for someone like me. That's a good point, Kat. I think that's something I should consider as well. If you never hit the like button for my videos, honestly, that's totally okay. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't I don't mind likes. Like usually when I look at my analytics, my like ratio is almost always 100%. Like at the lowest, a few of them got 0% before I had a good capture card. But since getting my capture card, at the lowest, I usually only get like 90% likes. So it makes me happy knowing that my videos did good. But I also don't heavily rely on it, which is why at the end of my videos, I usually say, make sure to comment below. Because I like having conversations with you guys. I like to know, like, what do you think about the video? Is there anything you want improved? Do you want me to continue this? What are your extended thoughts? And that's actually why I'm going on vacation to meet Isabel, is because she and I were constantly talking to each other in the comment section. And then she eventually said, why don't you follow me on Twitter so we can talk on messages? Which led to, why don't we talk on the phone? Which led to, why don't we meet up? So, gotta love how things had the ripple effect. I get that sponsors are necessary for some YouTubers, Spoon. I just don't like it. I don't like watching sponsorships, and I don't like the idea that I would have to be that desperate to get money. And not only that, but it's also a gamble. Like, I don't really like having to take my chances on stuff. I like having guarantees in life. So I wouldn't want to go into work and say, like, how do I word this? When I go into work for a shift, I expect to get paid for it. If my boss says, well, I don't feel like paying you today, Paul, so all of that was just you doing free labor, I would be like, no, wait a minute. We had a deal that you'd pay me for every hour that I did. So why the heck are you gambling my paycheck? That's one thing that I'm afraid of with stuff like sponsorships and Patreons, is that people just won't do it, and then I won't get paid, and then I'll be like staking my channel's future on a gamble. So if there is a way that maybe like all of you could like sign some kind of imaginary petition of like, we will support you every month, then maybe I'd do it. Spoon, you're usually pretty good at explaining things, so maybe if you like taught me step by step how to make a Patreon, and like if enough of you said we will support you, Paul, then sure. Yeah, sure, I'd totally do it. Sadly, I don't know what you're talking about, Jevel, but I'm happy for you. It's a good thing to have something to be excited about, because that can keep you out of depression. Let's see, what are you saying here, Caitlin? Well, I think you might be thinking a little bit too literally here, but I also think that people should think more literally in this case, because I personally don't want my videos to be too high up in the algorithm, just because I might get riffraff watching my stuff who might like post inappropriate stuff in the comments, or who might be trolls, or people that like expected something else. I don't know. I like to think that I've cultivated a very special audience that, they really like me. I really like them. I might even say, I might even go so far as to say, you guys are like more or less my friends. That's the kind of audience I want. If my video gets higher up in the algorithm, that decreases the chances of having like a solid rel- relationship. Not necessarily romantic, but you know what I mean. That's why I wish the Greek language was. Well, thank you, Kat. I would appreciate that very much. If Sploon can help me out, then I'll see if I can get you a special perk for being the first one to say that. Yes, I actually have owned Cuphead. I still do. I just haven't played it since then, because every time I hear the music, it reminds me of a girl that broke my heart. We've since made up, but sometimes the pain still lingers. Not totally sure I get your logic there, Sploon, but I do see where the other YouTubers are coming from. That for them, their YouTubing is a career, and so they have to do these things. Whereas for me, YouTubing has always been a hobby. So I have always said that I don't want to work under YouTube. I don't like working under corporations in general, which is why I really like Anytime Fitness, because my boss does not act like a corporate overlord at all. She acts like, I don't know, she acts more or less like a friend. And we had a work meeting a couple of weeks ago, which was better than I thought it would be. And she said, Paul, I hope that you won't only see me as your boss, but you'll also see me as a friend of sorts. I'm not 100% sure what she meant by that, but I appreciate that she said that nonetheless. Let me see. What are you saying here, Jovel? Uh, I'm sorry, but I totally am lost when it comes to anything anime. Well, Kat, there's always a chance to reboot your channel because if you take my channel, for example, I started YouTubing in 2013. My very first video was called The Great Embrace, which was named after a song that I wrote. And that was like the first video that I made for a very long time. Then I think I made like one other video in all of 2013, and that was The Beatitudes for Girls, which was a poem that I wrote on Facebook that I wanted to share. That was pretty hated by my audience. And then I think I made like 2 videos in 2014. Like I did another song called Praise You for My Broken Heart. I think I also made like a remake of The Great Embrace with my brother playing the drums and me playing the guitar. And then my channel was like basically dead for those first 3 years, mainly because I had trouble with my uploader cable. But then in 2016, I went on a conference, and that conference just spurred me into action. And I said, okay, it's time to revive this channel. And I went from zero to hero, and I basically just overturned the table, and I've been regularly uploading ever since. Except, I think I'm about to sneeze, except for when my computer broke. But even then, I would go to the library to make community posts. Okay, I think I'm missing a few chat things, so let me look around here. Oh, I see. So basically what you're saying, Spoon, is that my boss meant that I shouldn't only see her as this mean boss that's in charge of my payment, but like be willing to like talk to her about other things. Yeah, that's fair. Like, it's good that you can work on your own schedule, Kat. Okay, Dubs versus Jackson. Is that like the two attorneys? I haven't looked into the court trial, but as far as the results, overturning Roe versus Wade, oh my gosh, I couldn't be happier because I've actually written a pro-life book, which is why when I say I'm an author, I'm not joking. I'm not using that as a metaphor. The fact that I write in full sentences on your streams, I actually am a published author. So I am very happy that more babies can survive. Also, for the people that say, now, wait a minute, Paul, what about in cases of rape? Then what do you do? Then I would say, well, based on my limited research, abortions actually are more painful than giving birth. In addition to that, you came at an interesting time, Yubi. I was just talking about how excited I was for Roe v. Wade being overturned. Basically, abortions are more painful than pregnancy. Not only that, but abortions have more long-term side effects that never go away. Whereas it is totally possible to recover from a pregnancy after like a couple of months. Glad you can make it, Yubi. We've talked about a lot of things so far, but to sort of summarize, I showed off my gaming collection. If you want me to show it again, I can, as long as no one else is bored. We talked about my vacation that I'm going on in August. Kat talked a little bit about her job at McDonald's. Also, Sploon is going to help me set up a Patreon. And, well, now I want to hear what's going on with you. Well, Kat, you'll be glad to know that I try very hard to use proper grammar whenever I write in your chat. If I ever do a typo, it's because my hand slipped. I am very, very, very careful with what I write. All right, well, since you want to see it again, Yubi, I will totally show you. Keep in mind that these are only some of my games. I obviously can't show you all the digital ones, but I will show you my physical collection. So here we have Breath of the Wild. I trust you don't need me to re-explain these because you're actually a gamer. So I'll just briefly say why I own each of these games. This is my favorite video game. Obviously, you know that I will watch Dragon stream it no matter what. Then we have the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles because I'm a diehard Ace Attorney fan and I love puzzle solving and it has really good music. We have Neo The World Ends With You, which is really hard to describe. Basically, it's a game where every character has a button assigned to them. And so, like, you try to, like, micromanage which character is doing what all at the same time. Then we have Doki Doki Literature Club Plus. I already own this digital, but I decided to buy it physical again because I wanted to support the creator. And I also wanted to get the physical merchandise that came with it. I actually, as you know, Yubi, I hate dating simulators, but Doki Doki is a satire of dating simulators, which is why I love it so much. I do have the physical version of Zero Escape, so I can show you guys that in a minute if you want me to. My Banjo-Kazooie copy is downstairs, so I really don't want to do that. Fire Emblem, yes, I do have the physical version over there too. Then we have Basu. You'll have to make sure she streams when I'm actually awake, Yubi, because my gosh, all of your morning streams that you recommend, I'm just like, oh, I can't do that. Next, we have Mario Party Superstars. You've played that for yourself, Yubi, so you know why I like it. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, again, you already know that one. The Toy Con Nintendo Labo Kit, which allowed me to make this, which is a cardboard VR kit for the Switch. Has allowed me many fun memories. Danganronpa Decadence. I don't know how much you like Danganronpa, Yubi, but Peggle really likes it, and it was made by the same guys that did Zero Escape. Then we have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Pretty obvious, especially because Banjo and Kazooie are in it. Super Mario Odyssey. I'm a big fan of 3D Mario games, and I also like exploration quite a lot. Skyward Sword HD. I'm kind of regretting buying this because it's not too much different than the Wii version. What am I pronouncing, Cat? I missed it. Uh, yeah, I didn't like this game very much upon replay. Okay. I like it. I just didn't like it as much as I used to. So I'm in the category of Skyward Sword is okay, but I wish they had gone farther in making it a remake. And we have Bowser's Fury. Pretend that Super Mario 3D World doesn't get it. Danganronpa. I'll type it out in the comment section for you. There you go. The word Danganronpa comes from two Japanese words. Dangan meaning bullet and Rampa meaning refutation. So in the same way that you use truth bullets to contradict each other's statements, you're basically saying, I rebuke this, or I cast it aside. So that's where it got its name. Sorry to hear that. Well, I already knew that, Yubi, but I'm sorry to hear it anew. No worries. And yes, it is pronounced Danganronpa. I know that because of reasons. Peggle knows why as well, so you can always ask her, because I don't want to spoil anything here, but maybe DM her and say, how do you know how Danganronpa is pronounced? I have currently played every Danganronpa game in existence except for Ultra Despair Girls, but I am not going to play that one because, to put it mildly, there's one part where you play as a sexual abuser while he's sexually abusing a minor, and that alone made me say, nope, I am not playing that. As much as I am very detached from adult stuff in video games, that's where I draw the line. I am doing great, Yubi. Thanks for asking. This t-shirt is actually, I've told everyone else but you, this t-shirt is actually ridiculously sentimental for me because As of today, it's been exactly 11 years and 3 days since my second mission trip. And this is the t shirt that our group designed that we all wore on the first day of the camp. So the theme is okay, I'm looking at this up soul, live uncovered. So basically the theme was like the soul is what's invisible. So obviously no one can see your soul, but if you want to show someone who you truly are, you use actions. Like if you want someone to know that you're kind, you're not just going to beam out brainwaves for people to think, oh, you're kind. You're going to like talk. You're going to help them with your hands. So basically, you do stuff with your body to indicate what you are on the inside, if that makes any sense. Yes, I was actually really excited for Pac-Man when he was announced in Smash for 3DS and Wii U, Jevil, because I don't know if you saw the video that I made, but I actually had a notebook of my old Smash predictions back in the Brawl days of like way before I even knew that Smash 3DS and Wii U were a thing. I predicted a whole bunch of characters, and Banjo and Kazooie were on that list, as was Pac-Man and Mega Man. Oh, that's so cool, Kat. Hey, Kat, when you get a chance, we should find a time to smash together. And then not only that, but we should find a time where I can like brief you on the history of stuff in Smash because my gosh, I am a walking encyclopedia in that game. In fact, I might even make a video and shut me up if you guys think this is a boring idea, but I was thinking like I really love talking about gaming history, but I don't know everything about gaming history. So I was thinking maybe I'd make a video talking about the classic mode routes in Smash and like explaining what their origins are and like what each of them means and how does it relate to the character. But I would only talk about the ones that I feel like talking about. So like with say Simon for example, his is a reference to various Castlevania characters. I don't really play Castlevania. So I'd be like, I'm going to skip this one. But a character like Banjo and Kazooie, I'll be like, oh, heck yeah, let me tell you all about this one. July 24th? Okay, let me see what's going on that day. I've got my calendar right here. Alrighty, July 24th is nothing. Nothing except church. So I'll put your name down here, Kat, and when it comes closer, we can discuss the time. Oh, week of. Okay. I'll just put a general line and we can just go from there. No, but it still has a big nothing. The only thing I have going on that week is work. But I only work 3 hours, so that should be pretty easy. You played a lot. Yeah, Jevil, you are a way bigger Pac-Man fan than I am. No worries. I will make sure you don't forget. I am that person that is usually the reminder in my friend circles. I am going on vacation from August 3rd to 7th. So that's 5 days. It's not a very long vacation. I'm not that type of person. I don't like being gone for stupid long like my parents do because I get too homesick. And also just I miss my routine. So I will. I'm actually not sure if Doc likes me anymore because it seems like he never pays attention to my comments, but maybe that's just because he's got a lot of people that like him. So that's why I haven't been coming to his streams lately, is I thought maybe he thinks I'm some kind of freak or something. So I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I just got the impression that maybe I hurt his feelings or something like that. So, well, that's good, Yubi. I'm glad to hear that. You're going to Universal Studios? Oh, I hope you get to go to Harry Potter World, assuming that's the same thing. That is the reason I would go there, but I don't know if I'd want to travel all the way there just to see a bunch of Harry Potter stuff. I would love it if I could, like, meet most of my followers. But my gosh, with my current budget, I'm kind of groaning about how much money I'm going to lose from this vacation alone. Super Nintendo World sounds like one of the lamest things ever. I know that sounds weird coming from me, but it sounds like Nintendo's playing it too safe. Like, it sounds like basically all of it is based on the more recent Mario games, and the fact that Shigeru Miyamoto is happy about it means that it probably stinks, because Shigeru Miyamoto is the same man that ruined the Paper Mario series, or at least he suggested something that the the guy so when they were making Paper Mario Sticker Star, Miyamoto took a look at it and he said, "That's too similar to Thousand Year Door. Why don't you change it?" Which, my gosh, people wanted something like Thousand Year Door. So there's his first mistake. Then he said, "The game's fine without a story, so does it really need one?" The director took that as an order, and so Sticker Star has one of the blandest presentations ever. Oh, and I forgot the third mistake. He also said, "As much as possible, try to use only characters from Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World." So we ended up having way too many Toads in that game, as opposed to a bunch of interesting new characters. And ever since then, Paper Mario has just not been that great. Well, Yubi, that would require a lot of coordination, but I'm sure it could sometime happen. I just can't promise anytime soon. So keep your expectations relatively low. You know, if it was called Super Mario World, then that would make me even less excited, because I don't actually like Super Mario World that much. I do respect it for what it was. And I think in my review, I said it was one of my second favorite side scrolling Marios, but it doesn't hold a candle to the 3D Marios or to Breath of the Wild or, well, I don't know. I feel like 2D Mario is just so much better in the other games. Like, it controls so much better in the new Super Mario Brothers series. In Origami King, they definitely stepped it up a little bit, but I feel like they were still so held back by restrictions from the higher ups at Nintendo. Like, okay, I see where you're coming from, Kat, and I see where Sploon is sort of coming from. But what you have to remember is that Paper Mario was originally called Mario Story in Japan. It was an unofficial sequel to Super Mario RPG, which itself was developed because Miyamoto wanted a Mario game that would tell a deeper story. So the premise of the games was to explore a side of Mario that wasn't often explored. So the first three Paper Mario games, sure, they had, like, your standard Mario enemies, but they also went out of their way to, like, design new races of characters. In fact, Paper Mario 2 doesn't even take place in the Mushroom Kingdom. It takes place in the kingdom of Rogueport. So you've got a bunch of criminals, and so it has, like, all these dark elements. And then Paper Mario Sticker Star is as bland as you can get, when it's like, my gosh, Super Paper Mario, I don't want to spoil it, but Super Paper Mario took you to some pretty amazing places. I would highly recommend you don't play Sticker Star Cat, because pretty much everyone hates it. It is incredibly boring and incredibly frustrating. I would recommend you play Paper Mario 1, because that is on the Switch, and you can get it for no additional charge if you have the expansion pack. I do know what franchise you prefer, Yubi, and we actually mentioned you earlier in this stream. We mentioned that I was excited for Pokemon Puzzle League and you weren't. So I said, "What do you know? A Pokemon game I want to play more than you do." Jevel, you met me. I'm a celebrity because I wrote a book. So there you go. If you ever buy my book, I'll sign it for you. Paper Mario Sticker Star is the fourth Paper Mario game, Caitlin, and it is the game that most people know as the game that ruined Paper Mario, because it over relies on stickers for everything. It's very bland and unoriginal. The characters are basically non existent because Miyamoto didn't want much story. And I suppose the music is pretty decent, and for a 3DS game, it looks okay, but it's honestly just I guess you could say the best way I could describe it is if you eat cake without sugar or icing. Like, sure, the bread could still taste good, but it's like it could be so much better if we could put sugar in the bread, or if we could put frosting on the cake, or even worse, eating ice cream but without the cream, like only eating ice. Like, sure, you could like playing or you could like eating crushed ice, but that's boring. You'd want it to taste like ice cream. Oh, that's what you meant, Jevil. Well, if you go to MCYC, there's quite a few celebrities there. Well, Yubi, it's coming to the expansion pack, so if you have that, you'll get it for free, so you might as well try it. Cat, A Link Between Worlds is fantastic. Obviously, you know that like my opinions don't have to equal yours, but a lot of people say that A Link Between Worlds is one of the best top-down Zelda games ever. And a lot of people have also said it was like a precursor to Breath of the Wild with how open its structure was. And I think you would particularly like it because you're currently playing A Link to the Past. And that game actually reuses that game's world map and a lot of its more memorable moments. And it also redesigns a lot of the dungeons. And they have the merging mechanic, which is like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a Zelda game. So I hope you really like it. Sorry, I didn't get to your Bob comment, Spoon, but if you're talking about Bobby, he was he made for a very interesting moment in Origami King that I will not spoil. But let's just say, as much as I prefer the original two Paper Mario games, that moment was seriously cool. It was seriously amazing. I also just really liked how Origami King had a greater sense of camaraderie with your partners. Like, sure, the partners weren't great in battle, but you felt like they were going with you on this epic adventure. And so I'll give it props for that. Um, yeah, this current age of Marvel has been pretty underwhelming lately. Yes, I know exactly what you mean, Kat, because I've beaten Origami King. I did not hate Origami King. I thought it was okay. I just also think it could have been so much better if it was more like the first two games. I mean, they didn't even have to have the original combat system. Just if they had more original characters, were able to like be more. Why am I going slow? Oh well. If they were able to have better designs for the toads, be able to go to more interesting locations, then maybe it would be better. You accidentally said nuance instead of a nuisance, Cat. So I guess you could say Bobby is a nuance in a certain way. I would love to play Hey You Pikachu. That sounds like such a fun game. They would have to get an N64 microphone, though. I actually recently learned a way that you could cheat in Origami King without worrying about the timer. All you gotta do is just ask Olivia for advice. Then, as you're just standing there looking at her first text bubble, it pauses the timer so that you can study the battlefield and mentally plan out what you're going to do. So, if you're ever having trouble with Origami King and you want to go back, there you go. Problem solved. And I didn't learn that until after I beat it, so I learned the hard way. And a lot of times I just paid off the toads to finish it for me, so maybe I'm a bit of a cheater. Well, I would like to play Hey You Pikachu. It's just that even if I were to play it, I don't know where to get a Nintendo 64 microphone. So if there's a way I can get it and the game for cheap, I would love to play it. As you know, Yubi, I'm much more of a fan of the Pokemon spin-offs than I am the actual Pokemon games. So usually when Pokemon usually when Pokemon does things differently, that's when I like it more. Honestly, I don't blame you, Jevil. If you're not a Banjo-Kazooie fanboy like me, it's totally not worth it. Yeah, I would agree with you on that about the boss fights. I liked the boss fights in Origami King, but there were definitely moments where I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. I love Shadows of Valentia. That actually reminds me of something. If you guys will wait for just like 1 minute, I'm gonna go get some of my physical 3DS games. So unfortunately, most of these 3DS games that I'm about to show you, I no longer have because I was in a financial disaster recently and I had to sell all of my amiibos and most of my video games. I kept some, like obviously I showed you guys some of the games that I kept, and I still have two amiibos, the Zelda and Loftwing one and the Banjo-Kazooie one. But yeah, my amiibo collection went from 148 down to 2. So I had the launch edition of Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. No longer have this because I had to sell it. But this is a really good RPG, and the announcer from Smash Brothers plays the main character. Then we have 999. Of course I have 999. Like, what kind of person do you think I am for not having one of the best DS games ever? Uh, I still want to try Gale of Darkness. That actually sounds pretty cool. Yes, you had it modded. Thank you for that clarification, Jevil. Then we have Virtue's Astro Ward. I mean, you're starting to see a little bit of a pattern. 1 minute, guys. I just got a text, and this is a pretty important one. Sorry, guys. I was waiting for this. It shouldn't take me too long. Okay, we're cool. Okay, let's see what you guys got here. Original Xbox. Wow. My gosh, Jevil. You're quite the collection. Oh, wow. Yup. Quite the ancient flip phone. This is what it looks like on the outside. Well, it's not actually that ancient. This is a 2019 model. So then next on my gaming collection, we have Zero Time Dilemma. You're seeing a pattern again. My gosh, I love these games. Sploon, I hope you're enjoying my walkthrough. Oh, just got a respond text. Okay, that's cool. I don't actually know all the terminology for like boomers and zoomers and Gen Zs and all that, so I'll let you call me whatever you want. Then we have Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia. I think I still have this game, but I think my friend is borrowing it. But yeah, this is really great. It's a bit grindy, but if you can look past that, everything else is amazing. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D. I'm sure you're getting really excited about this, Cat. This was one of my earliest 3DS games and still one of my favorites. We have Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. I was such a diehard fanboy of this game that I even kept the receipt all these years later so that I could remember exactly when it came out and prove that I got it on launch day. That was one of the most annoying bike rides home ever because I was like, I want to hurry up and get back home to play this. Then we have the Sonic, oh, it's double sided. We have the Sonic Classics collection, which actually has the Michael Jackson music in Sonic 3. And then I also have Majora's Mask 3D, but I don't have the case because my friend is borrowing it. But yes, I do have it. That's cool, Yubi. You can play Majora's Mask on the Switch now. Did you know that? I used to have a Link Between Worlds. I don't know what happened to the cartridge. I think that might have been one of the games I had to sell, so that's why I don't have it. But a couple of games I used to have a Link Between Worlds, Kid Icarus Uprising, Hyrule Warriors Legends. I'm blanking out, but yeah, I used to have so much more. But at least I still have a lot of the classics. Oh, Kirby Superstar Ultra. I love that game, but I never had a box for it, so it's just in my collection. Oh, yeah, not a problem, Kat. Just DM me if you need any help. Well, I personally kind of like the non-Michael Jackson stuff better, but it is nice for the purists. Oh, I can't wait for you to play Majora's Mask again either, Yubi. I mean, once you get past Clock Town, the time loop becomes much easier to manage. Especially since you have more options in how you deal with the time. And not only that, but since it's called Clock Town, obviously there's going to be a lot more focus on the 3 days. Whereas once you get out of it, then it becomes a little bit more like a traditional Zelda game. Yeah. Well, okay, so I don't know if you knew this. No, I better not say that. That's a spoiler. But let's just say that Majora's Mask's structure is heavily involved in another personality theory that I will let you know of after you've beaten the game. But then you will never be able to see that game in the same way again once you hear that. Wait, you didn't get past Clocktown? Believe me, I also had trouble with Clocktown when I first played Majora's Mask, and I didn't have someone like me being able to tell me the answers. I just had to figure it out. Yeah, I think Majora's Mask's opening act definitely could have been handled better, but again, once you get past Clocktown, the game is so much better, honestly. Like, don't base your expectations on that game off of this first act. You are going to be in for a real treat later. All right, have a good one, Jevil. Keep up the good work ruining everyone's lives. Wow, I'm almost at the 2-hour mark. I don't usually go this long. Whew. Wait a minute, Yubi. How could you ride Epona if you haven't gotten past Clocktown? You don't get Epona until later in the game. Or did you hack your way to get Epona early? So what do you guys think of my 3DS and Switch and Wii U collections? I have some more like N64 and GameCube games downstairs, but I don't feel like getting them. Maybe I'll get them on the next stream. Caitlin, if you're still here, maybe that gives you some idea of what to do on your YouTube channel once you start it up again. Sploon, do you think you'll play any of the games in this collection now that you've officially been indoctrinated into the cult of gaming thanks to Fall Guys? And I guess Minecraft also. I mean, you're better at it than me, so that makes you interesting. You you have to get pretty far in majority. Oh, Sploon, you're just trying too hard not to be considered a gamer, aren't you? We all know that you're secretly like bursting to tell us I love video games. So I know FG is Fall Guys, RL is Rocket League, but MC is Minecraft. Gotcha. Yeah, my game collection used to be so much bigger before I had to sell them, but hey, at least it stopped me from going bankrupt. And at least I still have the Banjo amiibo. So, if nothing else, I'm glad that I held on to that one. Well, guys, I'm getting a little bit tired, so I might just call it here. I know I still have some water left, but I also like get streamer fatigue. I don't know how Peggle does it. So, do you guys want to? Was there anything you guys wanted to say before I headed out? Yeah, glad you could come, Kat. Thanks for coming, Yubi. Glad I could have good timing, Sploon. I'll still be able to see you tonight. I think I should be rested up by then. I think Javel just left, so I'm pretty sure that's everyone. All right, guys. Well, until the next time, make sure to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye.